Welcome to Dr. Subarya's tutorial. In this video, we are going to look at PIAGET'S cognitive theory and see how it helps us understand different ways to teach. Okay, what is PIAGET'S theory? Jean Piaget was a psychologist who studied how children think and learn as they grow. He noticed that children go through four main stages of learning. Okay, so each stage involves different ways of understanding the world. What that means? Which means we need to teach them in different ways depending on their age and development. Okay, so the four stages are sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. Sensory motor, pre, concrete, and formal. These are the four stages. Okay. The first stage is the sensory motor stage for children from birth to about 2 years. Okay, so the babies in this stage learn through their senses. For example, like seeing, touching, hearing, and moving around. So they don't have words yet, right? So they learn by directly experiencing things. So here, teaching is all about using sensory experiences. For example, if we want to introduce a concept, we had let babies touch and feel the objects. The sensory approach builds a foundation for understanding later on. So that's important of the sensory motor stage. The next stage, the pre-operational stage, is from age 2 to 7. In this stage, children start using symbols and imagination, but still thinking in a very simple way. Okay, so they understand what they see and touch, but it's hard for them to grasp abstract ideas. For example, let's say we teach them about animals. So what happened? At this stage, we might use storybooks with the pictures of animals or even toys instead of explaining abstract facts and all. We had to tell a story about a lion or a rabbit to make learning fun and memorable. So children in this stage are more likely to remember information presented through stories and visuals. So that's the pre-operational stage. The third stage is the concrete operational stage. It goes from about 7 to 11 years. Okay, it's from 7 to 11 years. So here children start thinking logically about concrete events. Logical thinking begins here. Okay, so they understand the concepts like cause and effect, but they still learn best through hands-on activities and things they can observe. That's important here. Okay, so they can understand the concept like cause and effect. So I will tell you an example. Imagine we teaching a science lesson on plants. So at this stage, what happened? We could give students seeds to plant and observe over time. So they can water the plants and watch them grow and makes connection between their actions and the results. So this stage is all about learning through experience, which reinforce logical thinking. So that's the important of concrete operational stage. Okay. And finally, we have the formal operational stage, starting from age 11 plus or 12 plus. Okay, so at this stage, students can think abstractly and handle complex or hypothetical situations. So they are able to reason and apply ideas in a various way. So let's say we are teaching about the concept of justice in social studies. Okay, what happened then? At this stage, students can analyze different scenarios, debate viewpoints, and even create their own ideas of what justice means. Right? So this is all. This is also the stage where open-ended questions and discussion help them engage in higher order thinking. So that's the important of formal operational stage. Okay, I think it's clear. So for MCQ like exams, this age group is also important. Sensory motor from 0 to 2 years, pre-operational 2 to 7 years, concrete 7 to 11, and above that formal operational. Okay. And then, so let me ask you one question. In which stage a learn through senses, reflexes, and movements occurs? In which stage? Sensory motor stage, right? So another characteristic feature of the sensory motor stage is the object permanence. Initial stages of in initial first 8 or 9 months of sensory motor stage, if an object is hidden, the baby generally forget about it or think it's gone. Example, if you hide a toy under a blanket, the baby won't try to look for it. So out of sight means out of mind. But later stage, what happened? The object permanence developing. So baby begin to understand that hidden objects still exist. For example, now if you hide a toy under a blanket, the baby will look for it because they know it's still there, even if they can't see it. Okay, so this shift from the out of sight or out of mind to it still there even if I can't see it marks the development of object permanence. So the object permanence is the characteristic feature of this stage, sensory motor stage. So another question, in which stage symbolic thoughts, languages, and imagination happening? In which stage? That is the pre-operational stage. So another characteristic feature of the pre-operational stage is the egocentrism. What is egocentrism? It's a self-centered view. In this stage, children often assume that everyone shares their viewpoint. For example, if a child likes a particular toy, they might think everyone else like it too. Okay, so imagine a child on the phone saying, "Look at my drawing." So they don't understand that the person on other end can't actually see it. So that is the egocentrism, self-centered view. That is the characteristic feature of pre-operational stage. And there is another word called conservation. Actually, there is no conservation in the pre-operational stage. Okay, so what is the conservation means? Let's clarify that. Children in this pre-operational stage do not understand that the quantity of a object remains the same even if its shapes or arrangements change. They tend to focus only on what they can see. That's the pre-operational stage. I will tell you an example. If a child sees two equal rows of blocks and then one row is spread out to look longer, the child may believe that the longer row has more blocks, even though both rows still have the same number. Did you get my point? Conservation developing in the concrete operational stage. The third one, the concrete operational stage. I will tell you that children begin to understand the conservation during the which stage? The concrete operational stage, the third stage. Okay. So they realize that changing the appearance of something does not change its quantity. So just imagine that if the same two rows of blocks are shown again, a child will correctly identify that both rows have the same number of blocks, even if one looks longer. So that is the conservation that happening in which stage? That happening in which stage? In the concrete operational stage. Okay. So in the concrete operational stage, logical and capable of understanding concrete events and concept happening. Okay. And thinking style, like logical thinking about concrete real world objects and situation, very important. Okay, so that happening in the concrete operational stage. And the characteristic feature is conservation. What that conservation means? Understanding that quantity does not change even if the shape does, like water in different glasses. Another example. So that is the conservation that happening in the concrete operational stage. And organizing object into categories, sorting toys by color, or arranging items in order, like putting sticks from shortest to longest. uh, those all are coming under this concrete operational stage. A child can solve math problems with the physical objects or pictures, but they struggle with abstract concept. Is it clear? That is the concrete operational stage. That's focused on tangible objects and real life situation. They can't do hypothetical situation. They can't do anything in hypothetical situation. Okay, they can only do things in the real life situation. That's a concrete operational stage. And coming to the formal operational stage, the capable of abstract and hypothetical thinking happening. Okay, so it includes reasoning about ideas and possibilities. So they can thinking about concepts that are not tied in physical objects like freedom or justice. And there is hypothetical reasoning, formulating and testing hypotheses like considering what if. So there are testing hypotheses, they're formulating the hypothesis. Those happening in the formal operational stage. Okay, like for example, a teenager can think about theories in science, debate ethical dilemmas, or solve complex algebra problems without needing physical objects. That is the formal operational stage. That focusing on abstract ideas and hypothetical situation. That's the formal operational stage. That's the difference between the concrete operational stage and the formal operational stage. In concrete operational stage, what happens? Focusing on tangible object and there is real life situations. In formal operational stage, focus on abstract ideas and hypothetical situations. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you found the information helpful and easy to understand. Remember, understanding this concept is essential for both teaching and preparing for the exams like our NTT. If you have any questions or thoughts about today's topics, feel free to leave a comment below. Actually, I had loved to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful and subscribe to my channel. So, thank you.